Runaways were a great LA band, all-girl band in LA in the mid-70s, late 70s. Joan Jett, Rita Ford. Um, the drummer, Sandy West, great drummer. Surfer, you know, tough. Anyway, the article in the LA Weekly focused on Sandy West because she didn't get a just propers in this new movie about the Runaways, because Sandy had problems, so I didn't want to get into that too much in the movie. Focus on the happy endings of Joan Jett's life, and I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I don't know, but anyway, they gave short shrift to Sandy West, and she was, you know, the co-founder of the band with Joan. I could videotape Joan with her band at the Whiskey. That's historic footage. The Whiskey A Go Go. That had to be 1978. The Blackhearts, just the beginning of her career. That with her new band. 79 maybe. Yeah, the Whiskey A Go Go was very eclectic. They got the film shows going in there along with punk bands. You know, the Dead Kennedys performed, and this experimental film guy from San Francisco showed some of his stuff. Forgotten his name. It was a vibrant time in the underground scene of LA. The most inviting era, where the bands like the Runaways were like show business, but they also had a level of personal attitude and integrity, despite all the pimpy Hollywood show business stuff that Kim Fowley got them sucked into. They were respected by a lot of people. And Sandy West, she was a great drummer. She died, you know, lung cancer. So anyway, I'm tuning this djembe. It's a healing drum. Dedicating this tuning to Sandy West. Because, man, LA was some mean streets in the late 70s, mid 70s. I was in punk clubs, I was hanging out, I was doing a lot of different eclectic things, some of it kind of dangerous. But at the same time, I was also being pretty prolific and successful. I was writing for George Lucas. I was writing the comic strips for George Lucas, the Star Wars comic strips. Living in a storefront in North Hollywood that I had converted into a rehearsal studio. And I lived in the control room at the back that had a window that looked out onto a vineyard. It's very, very small, urban, great vineyard with trees and beautiful garden, old LA. And this artist, sculptor guy, he lived upstairs. And he was always doing interesting projects. And so I soundproofed the bottom a little bit. Had this company come in and blow in insulation in a false wall, and then bought a PA system and then hired it out to my friends so they could come and rehearse. And Moon Martin came by, and, you know, Scott Richardson, John Heron, you know, and then I would sit in the back and work on my writing job, which was writing the Star Wars comic strips. So I'd sit outside and work on Darth Vader and Princess Leia cartoon strips for the newspapers while the bands were in there thrashing away. I didn't really encourage the punk bands. I just, because they trashed the rehearsal studio in the blink of an eye. But these guys were more mature and they actually had a few bucks to spend on a rehearsal studio. Moon Martin he wrote a bunch of hit songs, but his management, he was a good old boy, but the music business makes people jive, even if they're not. You end up being jive, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah, the Runaways. I don't know what happened with the Runaways. I wasn't that close to them, but they're legends. And I did meet Joan Jett and hung out with her and videotaped her at the whiskey, and she was just cool, very strong artist by any standards, man, woman, racial, whatever. Rock anthems. I don't care about a bad reputation. Man, to have written that song and got it published and recorded and all that. Major accomplishment. So, Sandy West, Huntington Beach, surfer girl, great drummer. After the band broke up, she never got over it. Family history. So, people start drumming because they've got to heal stuff. And for me, moving to this hand drum was the way I could heal myself and be of help to other people. And if I didn't have a strong enough ego, I would succumb to people telling me, oh, you can't play the drum that way. That's not the right way to play a djembe. And, I really had to depend on this overinflated rock and roll drummer ego that I had to pretend that I had in order to overcome, intimidation from Africans, white guys, women, men, everybody. So, any drummer who can drum, I have incredible respect for because they've got to get through a whole lot of emotional uh, baggage that the rest of the world heaps on people when they're drummers. Because there's a lot of insinuation about drummers, and none of it's true. It's all true, you know. So the article at the LA Weekly about Sandy West ends on an up note. Before she succumbed to lung cancer, she was working on some original music that showed off her talents as a singer-songwriter, keyboard, guitar, drums, everything. And also that she was moving towards a spirituality and that she wanted to,